Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Okay, good morning. Welcome back. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Yesterday I spent on the Bruce Shark, and a little bit of this morning I spent on the Bruce Shark. So today I'm going to do my other build for this week, and I've decided to go ahead and do the Plutonium crew, the three characters from Heavy Metal, and this is from bombshellminis.com. Highly recommend bombshellminis.com because these kits are excellent. A lot of times you don't get good figure 3D molded, 3D created figure models. A lot of people, well, how do I say this? In the cartooning mode, they don't go far enough in making them look like the cartoon figures. They have a tendency to make them look maybe a little too realistic. But I can really see a sculptor's hand in this because these are excellent. And I'm going to paint these up because they don't take up a lot of space. They won't take up a lot of space when they're done. I think I might make a little diorama for them or a little base for them to stand on. They don't take up a lot of room, which is key right now. But more importantly, I can also move them off of the table while I'm working on Bruce, because that is something that I won't say that it's more important than this. It's certainly not. But it is a priority. I have to get that done by the end of the month. These I don't think are going to take a lot of time. Because they are from an animated movie, though, it's a different discipline. It's going to be a lot of flat color on here, not a lot of shading. I am going to try to do some of the cell shading techniques on this little guy, though, because those were very prominent in the movie as far as, drawing in the highlights and the reflections and that sort of thing. So first thing I did is look up some references. I wanted to use this book that I have had forever. I've had this since 1981. It is The Making of the Art of the Movie, Heavy Metal. It has all of one good picture, and it's really not that good. It's overly dark. It's horribly printed. It doesn't help me at all. So, darn the luck, I'm just going to have to go back and rewatch that segment again. But I've pulled some sources from the internet. Now, cartoon or animated characters, the colors can vary from scene to scene, and that is due to the lighting of those scenes. Now, I know that they are given animation sheets that call out specific colors, but also I know that when directors try to change the effect of a scene, they will change the colors that are painted so too as to reflect a different lighting scheme. So if it's supposed to be in the dark, you don't always simply close the exposure on the camera. You sometimes paint things a different color to make them appear differently because of a lighting effect. So we're going to find the most bright, obvious versions of these, and we're going to use that as our base reference for it. There's a lot of oranges. I know this guy, he changes color from purple to magenta depending on what scenes he's in. The Harold Ramis guy, I think this was Robert Romanus, if I'm not mistaken. The Harold Ramis guy is very obvious green with dark green accents, some orange, some yellow. Of course, the John Candy robot was shades of gray and blue. I mean, he's a robot, but there were a lot of blues in there, so we're going to do that as a reason to use some blue paints. And we're going to have some fun. So join me down here on the table, and I'll show you the parts. And here are the parts. Thank you and good night. No, there are no complicated builds to this. This character is all one piece. The robot is all one piece, and the big guy is two pieces. And like I said, I'm going to leave him like this because that's just a nice little bit of stash. I'm going to close up the holes in the bottom of his feet. But you can make that a nice little key holder stash or something like that. Just a fun little bit of kit there. And then we'll put his arm on here. So he's a whole whopping 3 pieces. So we're going to put some base colors on here first. because these are 3D printed, they don't need to be cleaned in the traditional sense of a resin kit. So I'm going to go ahead, or really primed. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be using these Army Painter paints on them because they have a nice variety of the bright colors that I need. Here is an example. Here is a nice magenta. I need to figure out whether I'm going to go with a magenta or a purple for his skin. That's a good purple too. So I'm going to choose my colors and we're just going to get to painting. I might want to spray just like maybe his jersey here, just this big color, because that's an awful lot of color to try to get without brush strokes. So I may want to spray his, maybe his pants as well. And I might spray him an overall blue and then pick out some different colors. So most of it's going to be hand painted with a brush, but we might have an instance where a sprayed on paint might work as well. Alrighty, I've got some good base colors down now. We're going to let that dry. I know that these paints work better on the second coat, so I wanted to get a good base coat on everything, and then the top coat that we put on, that's where we'll start finessing the finishes. But this will get the colors laid down. We'll start thinking about how many different blues we want to stick on him. But we've got the basic oranges and yellows and greens and magentas down, or purples down. So it's a good spot to leave it. And we'll come back in a little bit and go with round 2. All right, now we're back on the Plutonium crew. It's Wednesday. How you doing? I am shuttling back and forth between projects, and now that I've got Bruce on a spot where he could be drying, I'm turning my attention back to the crew now. I have gone over this morning. I saw the colors that I put down yesterday. In many cases I was happy with them, in some cases I was not. I wanted to see how it was going to dry overnight before I altered anything, and having done that, I'm in a place where I thought the skin color on this guy was too dark. So I mixed up a lighter green that is some jungle green and some scaly hide. And I brightened him up some. I thought he was too dark yesterday. And I will go and put another light coat over top of that. Same thing with this guy, where I brightened up his purple a little bit, and I just did it by taking the purple that I did yesterday, which was the Grimoire purple, and I mixed a little bit of mummy robes in with it to brighten it up some. And I think especially going over the highlights on it, I think he's much happier now. He's in much better shape. And the other color that I changed the most was this tan, or this taupe color. It started out as elven flesh, but that was too yellow, too orangish, so I put some of the mummy robes in there. That's a good brightening up color. I'm investigating these colors, and I'm really liking that as a additive color to brighten some stuff up. So now I'm going to go over the orange again. Now yesterday I was using lava orange, and I felt it kind of runny and not easy to paint with. So now I'm going over today with dry rust, just on the orange bits, and I want to see, oh, it's not quite as vibrant an orange, but I like it better. Now, I will tell you that if I had the ear of the designer of these kits, that I would make the canyons between the orange and yellow stripes, or orange and shirt stripes, I would make those a lot less deep than they are. They are, like I say, they are canyons right now, and it's just a devil to try to get a brush down in there to paint them. I would make those much more subtle. But I am liking this orange a lot better. It is covering even more evenly, and it is giving me a better result. But I am trying to get down in there on both sides to paint in those gullies. And I might have to get a finer brush in there to fill in those. But yeah, that's been the only nit I would choose to pick with these designs. I had thought very, very briefly about trying to put a black wash in there, like the animation lines, you know, when you're drawing something in animation, but realized that no, because that's a Pandora's box I don't wish to open, because where do you stop on something like that? I had also thought about doing the details on the boots with black lines, but then I realized I was opening myself up to, you know, one of those in for a penny, in for a pound type of things. You've got to carry it the whole way through if you're going to start something like that. So, yeah, this orange is working out much better. Gotta make sure I'm not touching the wet paint and dragging it all over the place. Of course, it also helps to have a nice brush. Nice, sharp brush when you're doing this. There you go, right down in those corners. These paints they are self-leveling, and they do work a lot better on the second coat. I was recommended that I be more patient with them, that they do work out better, and it does turn out to be the case. It's just I'm used to covering with one coat and being done with it. The second coat is what makes it. But yeah, these figures won't take a lot of time to finish. I'm going to try to space it out over today and the rest of the week, because I don't want to start necessarily anything else. But I do want to take my time on these. Again, particularly around the back here, this gully between the two colors is really noticeable. Okay, I know this is thrilling, gripping video here, you watching me paint an orange stripe. So I am going to turn off the camera, finish this, and we'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, I've let the second coat on these dry for a while, and I'm really liking the nice flat color I'm getting out of these. I think I'm ready to maybe spray him with a clear coat to kind of lock these in before I do anything else. I need to put his pupils in. There's a circle that goes on his hat. I'm pretty happy with his top, though. I may want to come up with some sort of decoration for the beer can, though, and his other arm that goes there. So I'm very happy with that. I'm not 100% sure I'm done with the boots yet. They look kind of bland, even though in the movie they weren't much more than that. I might want to give him just maybe a darker coat of gray. I think that will help. I don't want to add more color than was actually there. That doesn't help anybody. Similarly, this is looking good. I need to touch his eyes again, touch up the skin, but I'm really liking particularly the orange and the creamy yellow. They are looking much better with a second coat. And on him, I tried doing the fancy cell-shaded colors. It didn't look right, so I think I'm just going to pick out some flat planes and paint them different colors of the blue. I like this highlight here. I may leave that, but I think I'll just paint the side a solid color, or the shin a solid color, or something like that to finish him off. It's only Wednesday, and I've got a couple more days, so I need to start thinking about what kind of base I want to use on these guys. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday. Welcome back. It's the gateway to the weekend, and we're almost done with these figures. I didn't think it was going to take a whole lot of time to do them, but I've been taking my time and also working on the Bruce project in the background. So we're back at these guys today, and we're down to the tiny details like painting pupils on eyes and things like that. So I need to get my my black paint out. Where did it go? I've got so many bottles out here that I've lost track. I don't want the black wash. I want the black paint. Well, I know this is black paint. I'll go ahead and use it. I've been thinking about what kind of base to put these on, and I'm thinking just a simple flat slab with maybe some Nyborg on it, and that would do, because I want to prepare for an eventuality in case this series gets expanded. And if it does, then I might want to pop these guys off of that base and add them to whatever expansion might happen. So that's something to be aware of. Now I'm going to give him a sideways look in his eye, because I'm trying to think of how I want to sit these three guys just together. And let me make a little dot there. Make sure my tip is the right size. Now he had really tiny pupils, and that could be because he was stoned most of the time. But he had really tiny pupils, so now I'm going to make the other one kind of look off in the same direction. I think I might want to put some water on that to loosen it up a bit. So if I'm looking at that, and I want to make sure that they're both looking in the same direction, that's close. Now I just need to round that out, which is tough with this brush because it's got a loose hair on it. And given these are cartoon characters, you do get a little bit more leeway with the coloring on them. You don't have to make them, you don't have to put the irises in and the pupils and all of that like an actual eye. You do get a little bit of license to simplify things. Make him a little bit bigger. It's got a weird hair on it. I could trim that brush up a little bit. Yeah, had a weird hair on it. And that's big enough that if I wanted to, I could put a white highlight on it, but I think that does what I need it to do. Need to clean up the area around the eye a little bit with the again with this fine brush here, and a little bit of the black. I want to darken it just in the folds around his eye. So take that and a little bit of black, a little bit more black, get it nice and thin. And I want to paint in just the bag under his eye. I need to touch that blue because I got a little bit of a splurge. And the under his eyelid. Yeah, putting some dark under his eye. I know I had said these were because these are animated characters, that I wasn't going to put a lot of shading into them. I was going to leave the colors kind of flat. But I am finding that by putting some highlights in, it is bringing more life to them. So I think that's what I'm going to want to do. I'm not trying to make them photoreal by any stretch, but I do want to just add a little bit of dimensionality to them, which is ironic, being that they are quite literally the embodiment of a 2D thing. Here I'm trying to just reblend back to the original purple that I had. Yeah, I just need to get that blue out and touch the blue of his eyes. Just a wee bit of a highlight on that eyelid. brings out the brings it out of the shadows a little bit. These are wonderful sculpts. I will say that to anybody who asks. These are marvelous 3D prints. I do hope that these people end up making more in this line. It's a neat subject and one that is not covered, which is always best. I mean, who in the right mind needs another X-Wing? But when you can have something like this that nobody is... I mean, no one's going to make a styrene kit of these characters. And it's a subject that deserves to have some coverage. There's certainly a market for it. But it's not a huge market for it. I'm not going to fault, you know, the big companies for not diving in and doing a line of heavy metal kits. But it is something, and this is where I think the 3D market shines. It does something that nobody else is doing. It does it in a small batch. It does it very, very well. And then, you know, you go on with it. You, if there are more, it's not a long-term commitment. If there are more figures that need to be done, and if they're done with the same amount of skill and the same amount of attention to quality, then yeah, it's something that you could release a couple new kits every year, or 4 or 5, depending on what your work schedule is. But I would love to see a Tarna on the on her ride. I don't need to see every single character in the council, but a Tarna and oh, I'm trying to remember the villain from that, the guy with the buzzsaw hand. I'm trying to remember his name. But yeah, I could definitely see, you know, 1 or 2 from each segment. If you wanted to do a Harry Canyon and the girl with the Lochnar, or if you wanted to do, I don't know if you need to do the B-17 one, because there are so many good zombie figures already out there. But maybe the more fanciful ones. You could do Gloria from this. You could do the Men in Black, or, you know, the agent that goes nuts in the Pentagon meeting. But look at that! You really start to see some dimension and some character there now. You could do Lincoln Stern. You could do the prosecutor. You could do the lawyer, the Joe Flaherty character. You could do both versions of Hanover Fist. You could do the little probe with the eyeball with the tailpipe on it that followed Stern around. You could do Den. I mean, I don't know that maybe you might not want to get into the more adult aspects of the movie, but you could do Den. You could do the Princess. You could do a lot of those characters, depending on your skill level and your desire. It's a ripe subject for exploitation, so to speak. That's good. I'm happy with that. I think what I want to do now is touch that blue eye, fix that up a little bit, and call his face done. Working on the droid a bit, or the droid, this is shows you my influence. Working on the robot, the sex bot, a little bit. I put in some flat colors and then just a trace of a highlight with a white, with a very light blue. I'm trying to stray away from the typical grays you would see. Now, I need to look at his pad again. I need to go back and see what was on that, see what I can simulate on that for the model here. But I like it. This is a new technique for me. I'm not used to doing this cell shading version, and it's getting there. It's clumsy, but I think it sells the premise. So I'm going to look at what's on that pad and finish him up. I need to go around another round on the skin on him, because first I need to redefine his eyeballs, and I'm wondering if I need to do an accent to put his smile in I don't know whether the shadows on the actual print here are enough, or whether I need to accentuate that by actually painting it in. So that's where I'm getting to the nuts and bolts of this, is how much do I let the model dictate the color, and how much shading do I want to put into it, how much do I want to force into it. Let's see, I've got this white spot on his hat. I got a little bit of white paint out here, so I can take care of the white on his hat. Let me do this off screen, off stage, and then I will show you how it turned out. Working on the droid some more, on the robot some more, the John Candy bot. Now, having watched the segment again, you never get tired of that segment. It was actually an old-fashioned clipboard he was carrying around with a pencil, but I'll make this look like a pad or a tablet. I'll just make a black screen on it. I can understand why you might not want to have him holding a yellow number 2 pencil. Kind of ruins the idea of the futuristic nature of it, so we'll give him a tablet. I need to do something to do the lights in his mouth. I'm wondering if I could cut some vinyl that small, only because I need something very intense and very bright and very detailed. That's awfully small. That is awfully small. Try to do those as 4 little... It's basically 3 squares and then a rectangle in the center. That's awfully small to cut. I don't think we'll be able to do that with a vinyl cutter. Might be able to do the center one, but not the... Well, you don't know till you try. He's looking very good. I need to redo his pupils. I covered them over when I did the rebluing, so let me take my finely pointed pen, my finely pointed brush, and put my eyes back on. See if I can paint those in. No, you see, here's that thing again. I've got a weird hair sticking out of the middle of the end of that brush. If I cut the weird hair off, maybe I can make a dot. Yeah, that's much easier to make a dot. Okay, I'm getting to the point where I need to start calling these things done. I'm not going to glue his top and bottom together because, like I said, he's a great way to make a stash. Okay, you're mostly done. You're all but done except for your mouth. Okay, I think I'm pretty much happy with the final composition here. I've got to wait for this circle to dry so that I can put a yellow dot in the center of it. I'm happy with the characters. I really am. The thing I'm thinking about now is the base, and I don't want a base. I want a base that complements it, but doesn't overpower it. I don't want it to be more wildly colored than the characters that are on the base. So I'm thinking a basic gray, maybe a faux tile floor, and I'm thinking maybe I'll spray it black, put some fine lines of vinyl down, and then spray gray over top of it, pull the lines up, and you get the black line, and then maybe some Nyborg on the base, and then call it done. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because, like I said, if they ever make a more elaborate version of this setup, then I want to be able to be free to take these characters off the base. I'll put a tiny tack of CA to hold them down, but I'm not going to swamp it or put any epoxy or anything that's really going to be tough to get up if I need to. So I think first thing to do would be to hit that with some black paint and then gray over top of it. Right, I've got the base sprayed. I sprayed a black underneath her to begin with,
and then I put the thin strips over there. That'll give me my panel lines between the deck plates. And then I noticed, I put gray over top of it, and then I realized that gray is awfully close to the same color as the boots. So I want something that's going to differentiate that a little bit. And I'm thinking that I want to do a color shift on there. Maybe a little bit of a color shift, just a slight, depending on what scene you saw, the plates look different from scene to scene. They were mostly gray, but sometimes they were violet, sometimes they were blue, sometimes they were, persimmon colored. They were everything. So I'm thinking of something that I wish I had a blue-based. No, if a blue-based thing would look too much like him. So I think I'm going to go with a slight, let me see. If I went with, I'm looking at my color shifters here. The blue gold might be nice. That might be enough to differentiate from the blue, or from the gray of the boots. And here's the base with the color shift paints on it, and I've removed the tape, but color shift paints on it and a coat of satin over the whole deal. I think it looks good. I think it'll do what it's meant to do. And I have one last bit of fun to put on it, and I'll probably do that tomorrow. Morning, everybody. It's Friday. It's the last work day of the week, the last work day on the Plutonium crew. I think we're going to finish up in big time today. We're going to have plenty of time to do what we need to do. And the last thing I want to do is to accentuate this base with a little Nyborg man. And there's two ways to do this. I thought about this long and hard. There's two ways to do it, but one of them is slightly better at the result. I mean, one's quicker, but one's slightly better. We could do white tulip slick to make the lines of Nyborg, or we could use the snow texture to make the lines of Nyborg. Here are the two differences. This is the tulip slick, which gives me a nice, controlled, easily put out strip of white substance. This is the snow texture. It takes a little bit longer to put out, but it comes out a little more what's the right phrase? Ununiform. It comes out a little bit more random. It has the powdery texture. So this is the way I think we're going to go. I have mapped out on the base where the characters are going to be standing, and I'm going to be careful to make my Nyborg go around their feet so they're not standing on it. And I've drawn some lines in with pencil. I've whipped up the snow texture, trying to find the ultimate tool to put it down with. I thought of using that toothpick, but it was just too unwieldy to work with. So I'm using this palette knife / dental tool / scraper. And we're going to see how easily this goes. And I'm just going to start dropping it down to make the row. Oh, I think that's going to work just fine. You just have to tap it. And I want it to be a little bit bigger than that. Oh, there you go. Okay, we're going to do this a lot, and then we'll come back to show you how it looks when we're done. I'm very happy with that. I don't want to go overboard with it. I think it serves the purpose. But we're going to let that dry. Nice Nyborg, man. You're going to hear me do that a lot because it's the great Harold Ramis line. Oh, good Nyborg. Clean that up. We're going to let this dry most of the day, and then we'll stand the characters up in it. I'm still going to leave him. I'm going to glue his feet down, but I'm not going to glue his top down to his feet. But here we have the three characters. I've marked out where their feet need to go so that they're not stepping in any of it. But there you go. That's what the finished display is going to look like. And here we have, ladies and gentlemen, we have the finished Plutonium crew. I will tell you that the the putting of a flat coat of spray on it really does knock down a lot of the brush strokes that I was seeing when I was using the obviously painting those gamer paints by hand. You do get brush strokes, but it just evened those colors out really nicely. There you go. I look forward to what else Bombshell Minis can come up with in this line or in others. I mean, other segments or more characters in this segment. I'm thinking Gloria and Dr. Anrak in this segment. Maybe one of the generals. Maybe the ship too would be nice. The egg ship. Now there was an egg ship at Wonderfest I saw, but it was about the size of a tennis ball. And I would like to see something a little bit larger where you could get more of the detail of the windows in, maybe light it. That would be great. But yeah, you could do other segments from the movie just as easily. But that's a nice little quick 1 week project. Way to get back into the modeling swing after the week of Wonderfest. And plus it allowed me to work on Bruce on my off time. And there they are from the back.
And that's it. That's this week's build. The Plutonium crew from Bombshell Minis. I have to be careful because, like I said, this part is still... if you want to hide keys in there, you want to hide a little something in there, you certainly could. I highly recommend these if you can get to their site. Now, I was on their site and I didn't see them listed, so I hope that they will be adding them soon. If not, just bug the heck out of them for them. Tell them Lou sent you. Next week, I will hopefully be in the depths of working on the Bruce kit, and we'll pull something off of the stash to fill in the time. So join us then. Till then, y'all be safe, be smart, be good to each other, be good to yourself. Build a model, and we'll be back next week.